Welcome back to Crime Insomnia, where we explore some of the darkest and most tragic true crime stories from around the globe. In today's episode, we delve into the deeply disturbing case of Carol Maltesi, a young woman whose promising life was cut short in a brutal and senseless murder. Known to many as Charlotte Angie, Carol's story is both heartbreaking and a chilling reminder of the dangers faced by those in vulnerable situations. This episode will discuss how her life intersected with an individual who ultimately betrayed her in the most horrifying way. The tragic case of Carol Maltesi has ignited discussions around victim blaming, the treatment of women in the justice system, and the overlooked dangers faced by those in the adult entertainment industry. To understand the gravity of her story, we must first explore who Carol was and the life she was building before it was cruelly taken away. Carol Maltesi was a woman of vibrant cultural roots, born to a Dutch mother and an Italian father. Raised in northern Italy after her parents' separation, she grew up immersed in two distinct cultures that shaped her adventurous and open-minded outlook on life. Friends and family remember her as a bright, creative child who expressed herself through art, dance, and music, passions that hinted at her future career path. While her childhood was filled with love, Carol faced her share of challenges. At 21, she became a mother and moved to Milan, determined to create a better life for herself and her son. Her resilience and independence defined her, but the journey was anything but smooth. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 brought unexpected hardships. She lost her job as a shop assistant and saw her relationship with her partner end, plunging her into depression. Struggling to make ends meet, she made the heartbreaking decision for her son to live with his father while she worked to rebuild her life. In her search for stability and creative freedom, Carol entered the adult entertainment industry under the name Charlotte Angie. Her stunning beauty and charisma quickly earned her a loyal following on social media and adult content platforms, giving her a chance to reclaim her independence. However, Carol's promising future was brutally cut short. On March 20th, 2022, her dismembered body was discovered in garbage bags along a mountain road in Palline di Borno, Brescia, Italy. Authorities initially struggled to identify her remains until her distinctive tattoos, visible in her photos and videos, provided the key to her identity. The investigation soon turned to David Fontana, a 43-year-old Italian man who worked as a bank employee and dabbled in photography. Outwardly unassuming, Fontana had met Carol online, offering to photograph her for her Onlyfans profile. What began as a professional connection evolved into a romantic relationship in 2021, with Fontana leaving his wife to move in with Carol. However, their relationship ended after a few months, though Fontana remained close to her, moving into a flat in the same building and continuing to assist her with her work. Beneath his quiet and polite exterior, Fontana harbored a dark, obsessive attachment to Carol. On March 28, 2022, a week after her body was discovered, Fontana went to the police to report her missing, claiming he had been unable to contact her and was concerned for her safety. His inconsistent statements and surveillance footage of him driving Carol's car near the location where her remains were found raised investigators' suspicions. Under pressure, Fontana confessed to the murder. David Fontana described the gruesome events, claiming they began during an erotic game. He admitted to striking her with a hammer, initially lightly, but escalating to harder blows, particularly to her head. Believing she was dead, he slit her throat with a kitchen knife, later claiming he acted in a moment of irrationality. Over 3 days, Fontana dismembered Carol's body in an attempt to prevent identification. He initially tried to burn the remains, but, failing that, stored them in a freezer before eventually discarding them in garbage bags. Fontana's manipulation extended beyond the crime. For over a month, he impersonated Carol, responding to messages on her phone to create the illusion that she was alive. He told her friends she planned to leave the world of porn, and even sent a message to her mother, claiming Carol had moved to Dubai and would only communicate via text due to high roaming costs. In a chilling display of deceit, Fontana sent birthday wishes to Carol's father, further perpetuating the facade. Immediately following his confession, David Fontana was arrested and placed in custody. Authorities charged him with premeditated murder, mutilation of a corpse, and obstruction of justice. Investigators revealed that his actions after the murder, such as dismembering Carol's body, attempting to burn the remains, and impersonating her to mislead friends and family, demonstrated a calculated effort to cover up the crime. These actions intensified the charges against him, painting a picture of a manipulative and dangerous individual. The case shocked the public, not only for its gruesome nature, but also for the calculated way Fontana had maintained a facade of normalcy after the crime. His behavior, which included sending messages to Carol's family and friends and continuing his daily life, highlighted the chilling extent of his deception. Media outlets across Italy and internationally reported extensively on the case, sparking debates about domestic violence, toxic relationships, and the vulnerabilities faced by women, particularly those in the adult entertainment industry. As part of the legal process, Fontana underwent psychiatric evaluation to determine his mental state at the time of the murder. His defense argued that he acted impulsively and out of character, but prosecutors contended that the premeditated nature of the cover-up suggested otherwise. The psychiatric reports later indicated that while Fontana showed signs of narcissistic and obsessive tendencies, he was mentally competent and fully aware of his actions. Fontana's trial began several months after his confession, with the prosecution presenting a compelling case based on forensic evidence, surveillance footage, and Fontana's own admission. The court heard harrowing details about how he meticulously dismembered Carol's body and attempted to erase her existence. Prosecutors argued that his motive stemmed from a toxic obsession with control and possession over Carol, particularly regarding her independence and career in the adult industry. The defense sought to mitigate the sentence by portraying Fontana as a remorseful man who acted out of desperation and emotional instability. However, the evidence of his calculated actions, including impersonating Carol for weeks after her death, left little room for sympathy. In 2023, Fontana was found guilty on all charges. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, the maximum penalty under Italian law. The court emphasized the severity of his crimes, describing them as cold-blooded, premeditated, and heinous. Carol's murder became a symbol of the broader societal issues surrounding gender-based violence, victim blaming, and the stigmatization of women in certain professions. Advocacy groups called for increased protections for women in vulnerable industries and harsher penalties for crimes of domestic violence. Her family and friends, while devastated by the loss, worked to preserve her memory by highlighting her resilience and creativity rather than the circumstances of her death. The case of Carol Maltesi serves as a haunting reminder of the hidden dangers within seemingly ordinary relationships and the importance of addressing societal stigmas that can leave individuals vulnerable. Fontana's conviction provided a sense of justice, but the tragedy of Carol's untimely death continues to resonate, inspiring calls for systemic change to better protect those at risk. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please consider sharing it to help raise awareness. And as always, let's continue to look deeper, ask questions, and stand for justice. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.